Hey guys, it's Mike here. If you're in New York City, we're here with Ty, the co-founder of the Good Vibes Club. And we're at the Good Vibes Club, the Super Rare event in New York City. And I'm here with...
Hi guys, I'm Chris, co-founder of Good Vibes Club.
I was just talking to your brother. He told me you're the crazy one.
No. He's definitely the greatest. My friends always would joke growing up. They would say, like, Chris is Ty Plus. Like, he's bigger, louder, hairier version of me. He's definitely the crazy one. Yeah, he's definitely a Ty Premium, that's for sure.
Tell me about Good Vibes Club. Why Good Vibes Club? What, created this idea?
So, Chris and I, we started our commercial animation studio a little over 6 years ago. We founded a commercial animation studio called Toast. We rebranded Facebook Messenger and Reddit. And we've been fortunate to work with a lot of commercial top, Fortune 500 companies. And so personally into crypto and a participant in Web3 for many years. And, back in 2021, we had talked about doing a collection, but doing one to the extent in terms of the quality threshold that we weren't willing to sacrifice in 3D was a pretty big undertaking because there's a lot more complexity in 3D. And so, we had started working on a design explore time for it. And funny enough, being here in the basement of the Super Rare Gallery, our really good friend John, who's the founder and CEO of Super Rare, he was like, hey, have you ever thought about doing a collection? And we're like, actually, we're working on the beginnings of one right now, but to do one, like I said, to the extent of which we knew we were capable of and we really wanted to, we knew it was a pretty big undertaking. And so he, funny enough, gave us a nudge to kind of go all in, and that kicked us off on a multi-year journey of making Good Vibes Club. So it's kind of like a movement of authentic connection, but in reality it's a high-end art PFP. It's also a PFP. It's kind of a bit of a hybrid, right? You don't typically see high-end art in the PFP space, and so I believe that we're a bit of a mixture, which is why the Super Rare partnership makes so much sense.
The Good Vibes Club. So tell me, what's the day in the Good Vibes Club? What is going on in the community? What's the vibe in the Good Vibes Club?
Well, the vibe is good vibes, bro. It's pretty self-explanatory in that regard, but I'm sure you've been in the space for a while. You've seen many things that maybe have not met your expectations or bummed you out, and a lot of scam and extraction over the years. And a lot of people enter this space because they love the art or they love the community aspect of collecting. Over the years, especially with the meme coin run up, some of that has been lost a little bit. And so we wanted to really just celebrate the human aspect of the space. And everybody says the word community, but what does that really mean? It really means authentic connection with one another. And so Good Vibes Club, in terms of a brand, it represents that. It represents connecting with one another in a really real and human way. And that's been really fun.
I was going around the gallery and I see the first thing that caught my eye is wow, the graphics are really amazing. So tell me about how you build something like that with high quality. What do you use to build things like that at high quality?
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I use Cinema 4D and Octane, and honestly, I had an amazing dev who built a fully custom pipeline so that I could create high fidelity, high curated art inside of Cinema. And what's really important is that it's all rendered in camera to preserve the reflections, the refractions, the details that make 3D piece of artwork feel like it's high fidelity. Because typically, other collections will render different trays on alpha and combine them in post. And if you do that, you kind of lose some of the magic of okay, I want to see the reflection of the shirt in the gold hair, or see through the transparency of a bubble. So we took a high-end art approach to rendering in camera through a custom pipeline in Cinema.
So when I think about NFTs and everything, the first thing I think about is community. Nothing survives without community.
Yeah.
So you have to really grow a vibrant community. Take it, I think about it like a flower. You take it, you water it, you gotta feed it. So when you buy or when you are a holder of Good Vibes Club NFTs, what kind of benefits and kind of things you guys got going on in the community?
Yeah, before we started our animation studio, I was an early employee of Reddit. And so this is back in 2016. I was maybe there was 100 or so people at the company at the time. And, at the time, Reddit was the wild, wild west of the internet.
Yeah.
And so community wasn't really a buzzword. It wasn't anything that people talked about a lot. And, I started on the community team, on the operations side. I saw when I was there, hundreds of communities come up on a scene overnight and then burn really bright and then fall off. Yeah. And communities that are really small and healthy and really big and toxic and everything in between. And at the time, in retrospect, it was an incredible learning experience for me very early in my career. And so for me, like leaving Reddit to go and start our animation studio was awesome because it felt like a new adventure for me. And as we began like kind of workshopping this like sort of Web3 IP, because that's essentially what it is, and like we've helped the biggest brands in the world build and grow their IP for years, and now we're building our own. Having that experience of like learning what the social science was behind community is like, it's a science. And, a lot of people, and this is not to talk down on founders, but like, communities are complex and there's like social values at play. And, how do you cultivate, and grow a community in a way that is healthy and maintains a sense of identity? And those are things that I learned at Reddit early on. And, applying that to Good Vibes Club and what we want our community to represent, what we want our brand to be, has been really, really cool because it's kind of been like a full circle moment for me having that experience from Reddit.
That's awesome. Well, honestly, I applaud you for seeing a hole or a gap or problem in the world and through your experience in Reddit and bringing it into Web3 and fixing that problem with the Good Vibes Club.
I'm really glad you asked this question because I honestly think that the community is one of the strongest parts about the project. Of course, we value high fidelity art and we value high quality and execution. But at the end of the day, Good Vibes Club is a movement of authentic connection. It's where people can come to connect and champion a message of positivity that's ultimately not rooted in superficial sort of like toxic positivity.
Yeah.
It's rooted in this concept of, if I'm able to have gratitude as my perspective, I'm able to be positive in sort of all situations. And so we've seen our community champion that and really grow and flourish a lot within the space through kind of adopting that ideal.
And I can totally vibe with that because I went through a funk in 2022 and the practicing gratitude has brought me out of that funk. And, I look at every day as a gift now, and it's practicing gratitude really does change. It really does rewire your subconscious to look at the world through a totally different lens. So, and that's what you see when you think of Good Vibes Club. Just think of good times. In my mind, like a beach party. Is there like a Good Vibes beach party?
It's funny that you say this because so the world of GVC lives in a place called Vibetown.
Okay.
Vibetown, I describe to people as the marriage of like if New York had a baby with like a Caribbean island, that's Vibetown. It's sunny, 75 degrees every single day of the year. There's no winter. There's funk dance music playing in the streets. People are really stoked and just having a really good time, and they're pumped and they're happy. So that's kind of how I describe Vibetown. So I'm glad that you kind of brought that up.
That's really awesome. So another question for me, I just thought of it right now. Like for the IP, are you guys like looking at using the IP in different like metaverses themes and something like that? You guys got things like that collaboration going on?
Yeah. So we, at the heart of what we do, my brother and I founded. He's the co-founder of GVC. His name's Ty. Good Vibes Club was ultimately the transition of our commercial animation studio into building our own IP that's sort of supplemented by commercial animation partnerships with some of these larger brands. And so the vision for ultimately Good Vibes Club is to build a world that people can like feel and taste and touch and connect with. Because ultimately, if you have high fidelity characters, they're able to be adopted better as like someone's digital persona. And that also goes with the world itself. It's really important that the world feels like high fidelity. You look at like an image and you can see the sand or the rocks and you can kind of feel the swaying of the palm trees. And I think that that's really important for immersion when it comes to imagination and emotional connection with the IP and the brand itself.
I think one thing that Web3 is lacking so much is we've got real connection to a character, just something, because it's all about, this, that, or the next flash game, but having a real connection to something, actually, like, that's what gets you into it. Like, just like reading a good book.
Yeah.
You get into a good book, you get involved with the characters, and you want to just keep going into it, you delve into it. So I really love that. I really like what you're building. That's really cool, and the whole aspect. And I feel like the high quality art would be super easy to throw into, a metaverse or for a game. I can definitely say this kind of art is fine art. 8-bit art is so 2020, right?
I won't discriminate to art, but I obviously have been a 3D artist my whole life, and so that's what I personally
Art is
love.
subjective, in my opinion, and that's what feels cool about art, is because I can think this way, and somebody else can think a totally different way, and you can feel a different feeling by looking at a piece of art than I feel, and that's what's cool. It's really nice to hear everybody's perspective and how that comes to it. Everybody wants to talk about, what they got going on and the art and all this stuff, but the personal level is like where it's all, because that's the community. People connect with people, and it's funny because in social media we're so much more disconnected than we ever were, even though we're more connected.
100%.
So that real connection, and that's why the IRL connection is the best connection to have. This is why we come to these events, because the IRL beats face-to-face, always beats.
Yeah, it's super fun. And it's interesting because the internet has provided us with the ability to connect with people all over the world. And I think that is a really beautiful thing. But when you pair that with being able to put a face to the name and really hug someone,
Absolutely.
Embrace them, as humans, it adds another layer of to the relationship. But when you can connect in person, it just takes it to a whole.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. Dude, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting.
Yeah.
Really nice to chat. But it's really nice to sit down and chat with you. I really like what you guys going on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, man. It's been awesome. Thank you guys so much.